Welcome to It's Show Business. Today we have comedian Kelsey Cook on the show. Super funny, shot her special during quarantine, was on The Tonight Show, professional foosball player. What else do you want? You're gonna love the episode. I loved it. Thank you for supporting, and here it is. I did lose a pair already.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, they're so expensive to be that small and lose them.
And it's weird because I lost just the pods and I had this sad case that was just empty that you need to open and you're just like, oh, you're retracing your steps and accusing people and
just to remind you of your mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, give me like 20 more seconds. I swear to God, this is
okay. I thought you were gonna say minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I think I lost mine I took that Leslie Kahn acting class.
Oh,
they have these like couches.
Like a popular one for comics.
Yeah, they have these couches where you just sit and like everything falls out of your pockets into the cushions.
God.
Which is how they pay the rent, basically.
Just have a little troll that goes through.
Yeah. I got one left pod on this couch.
Okay, almost there. We got one last one to pull free. Jesus fucking Christ. How have you been? How has quarantine been for you?
It's been pretty good. I've been like doing the best I can, I guess. Yeah. Trying to stay healthy. At first I was just, binge eating everything. And then after a while I was like, all right, I got to start working out. So
right.
I started doing everyone's favorite workout from 2006, the P90X.
P90X. Oh shit.
Yeah. So, it works.
Does it work?
It works really good. Yeah.
Yes, I got it.
Freedom.
I never did P90X, but do you remember seeing infomercials for hip hop abs with Sean T?
Oh yeah.
I wore those DVDs out. Like I don't think they could even play now if they wanted to because me and Sean T were real tight for a few years there.
Real tight. Did it work? Is it what about it is hip hop? Just the dance or the music?
It totally works. I mean, it looks so Caucasian because they're trying to incorporate hip hop moves with ab workouts, and it's just like those two things don't. There's no way that makes you look cool. He was all about the standing ab, like that you didn't have to get on the floor. So it was a lot of just standing and like humping the air. You had to have all of your curtains closed to do it in your home. It was horrifying. Nobody, if there had been like some sort of recording device watching me do those, I would just end my life because I couldn't come back from that.
Crazy. There's an echo. Do you hear that?
No. Did that happen right when I put my headphones in?
No. Are you in what kind of room are you in?
Oh, you mean like there's an echo in here?
Yeah.
It's pretty echoey shit. Maybe I can let me try moving to my bedroom and closing the door because it'll be smaller.
Okay.
1 second. Let's see.
Oh, nice view. Hey, where are you? There's snow.
I know. I'm in Spokane right now.
Is that your hometown?
Yeah, that's my hometown.
Oh, that's much better already. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm from Vancouver, so I'm a Pacific Northwesterner too.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Vancouver, BC or Vancouver, Washington?
BC. Come on.
BC, okay.
Washington.
Sometimes I've asked that question and people have said Washington. I just, I don't know. That's really cool. How
anyone from Vancouver, Washington just says Seattle to be cool. I mean,
that's a good point. Nobody wants to admit they're from there.
Yeah.
Let me open these really quick. Shit. This is just...
I'm starting a new podcast. It's called Getting Ready for a Podcast with Kelsey Cook.
Where I break all my furniture. Fuck, sorry.
It's okay. This is fine.
Okay. Let's do it. Does this sound better to you?
Oh, it's way better. Yeah. Oh, okay, and awesome. Another white wall. Perfect.
I know. Okay. Cool. Got this. Good?
Looking great, sounding great. I love it.
Okay.
Well, Kelsey, thank you for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Are you going to include everything that happened
Oh,
up until
absolutely.
this moment? Oh, God. Please no.
So you're in Spokane right now, or is it Spokane or Spokane?
Spokane. I can't believe you're from Victoria, or I'm sorry, from Vancouver, and you don't know how to pronounce Spokane.
No one goes to Spokane.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, Spokane.
Spokane. Well, I'm sure some people say Spokane, right?
Oh, totally. People say it wrong all the time. It's so funny. You know, I'm here for the holidays, and I went into a grocery store a couple of days ago, and literally, like, these are the songs that played within the 15 minutes I was in the grocery store. Started out with Evanescence.
Oh,
and then
nice.
Hit us with some Three Doors Down.
I used to work for Three Doors Down.
What?
Yeah, that album, Away from the Sun, I worked on.
I don't know anything about you, so I'm going to have a lot of questions for you as well, because
that's like Spokane's national anthem.
Spokane's national, yeah. That's
Spokane. Damn, I did it again.
It's okay. Yeah, Evanescence is like our state bird. It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to work on that kind of like jock cock rock in Vancouver, and so there was like this Pacific Northwest genesis of like Nickelback, Three Doors Down, and all this stuff that all came out of Vancouver studios.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know. Papa Roach, would that be in that group
That's
as
in
well?
the same, I think they recorded, they're more like LA.
Yeah.
My friend actually lives next to, he's like, my neighbor is the bass player from Papa Roach. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, shit.
So
I always wonder what those people are doing now. Alien Ant Farm?
Oh, Alien Ant Farm. They were kind of like the last ones on the way out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Train was kind of in there too.
Yep. So funny.
It was like there was an interesting article about it where they were saying that like male angst has been like eliminated from the phone. Like all this like male loneliness that used to come out in like songs like Kurt Cobain and then all these like rock groups is gone because they just like text away their loneliness or just go on Tinder or something. It was very interesting because there hasn't been like a big rock band to really like take over. And there normally is like every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, I was big into Incubus. I mean, still into Incubus, which I feel like is, can get a little moody at times. Yeah,
and especially when he takes off his shirt. He's just a guy like with his shirt off and like a cool one song. He's from Calabasas.
I know. Yeah. Oh my God, he was my number one celebrity crush for a while. He's like a little too hippy dippy for me now, but like Anna Molly music video days.
Yeah. He looked like the what's the guy from the Doors? Like a new Jim Morrison.
Yeah, definitely.
So you must be like a pretty well received local at the Spokane Comedy Club.
Spokane Comedy Club.
Spokane.
I can see your mouth like as it's about to hit the second half of the word is like
I speak French, so maybe that's why. Blame it on the French, all right?
I speak French too.
Oh wow.
That was my I minored in it in college, and my mom was my high school French teacher, so it's like been in my life, but I've forgotten how to speak a lot of it. But
your mom taught at the high school you went to?
Yeah, she was my high school French teacher.
Wow, there's another piece of comedian.
Oh, so many. Yeah, I feel like my upbringing and weird family was like enough to make me a comedian, but like not enough to put me in porn. So it was like, it was the right amount of issues, it was like right in that sweet spot.
Yeah, a little bit more alcohol and drugs and sorry.
Yeah, totally. And then we would have been there. Yeah.
And the foosball, I was reading about you and your foosball champ.
Yeah. My family and I, my parents met playing in a professional foosball tournament.
Nice.
So yeah, I literally, like, I wouldn't exist if it weren't for foosball. And then I've been playing my whole life. There's pictures of me playing when I'm like 2 years old, standing on a stool so that I could be tall enough to see the top of the table. And then, yeah, just still try to go to tournaments as often as I can with comedy. But obviously with COVID, I mean, foosball tournaments are so gross, even without COVID.
Right.
It's like,
no one's watching those rods.
No, that's like ground zero. I mean, it's just the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching the clip with you and Brian Regan playing. It seemed like fun because you guys were having fun, but it's hard to follow via video. Because it's not like a video-oriented sport. They're like, this is for us only. Like, it doesn't go out to the world.
It's for these two people.
Yeah.
That was harder in Vegas because when I played Brian Regan, we went and set up a separate shoot there that was outside of our usual studio. They've done a pretty good job in the studio of getting the camera set up, but when you go to an actual tournament, they have a production crew there that knows exactly what they're doing. And you can actually see pretty well, but at a higher level, people are hitting the foosball so hard that you can't even see it.
Yeah.
So exactly. It's mostly for the two people playing.
Do you they slow it down in halftime?
They'll do slow-mo. We try to do more slow-mo on Rissa Fury. I want to do more of it going forward, but yeah.
Because pool translates, but it's slow. It's like the guy's already overweight. He's walking around with the pool cue. He's leaning over.
Yeah, not a lot of quick motions.
Yeah, I like all those like sad bar sports. Like they're just fun.
Me too.
Is pool like? Do you play pool as well, or is that like no for foosball people? They're just like, we draw the line at pool.
Oh my God, like as if we think pool would be beneath us or something. No, not at all. I love all bar sports. That's my shit. That's my favorite thing is to go play all of those. I mean, some are
darts.
Darts, love darts, love ping pong. I'm okay at some and better at some than others, but I mean, foosball definitely has been the thing my whole life.
Yeah, I used to love leaving high school and going to the pool hall and like playing. It's like with all these old Greek guys just looking around there, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm here, but this is great.
Yeah,
spending my only $10. I didn't smoke, but I basically did because everyone else is smoking.
Yeah, so you're just inhaling it all.
Yeah. I don't miss those secondhand smoke days of every restaurant, every place. Like, this is nice.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there have been many years of my life shaved off just from being around foosball tournaments my whole life, because it's just, they have smoking sections now, but it kind of like seeps in, and yeah, you're just around it.
Is there like a foosball champ you look up to, like someone here like that's my idol?
Yeah, there are a handful of really amazing players. Tony Spredeman is the #1 player in the world, and it's just like watching a machine. It's incredible. You can YouTube him and see him play. It's amazing.
It's even a great name, like Spread 'em in. That's like the perfect.
Yeah.
Tony Spredeman's coming.
He does it full time, so he has an RV and he just travels to all the biggest tournaments and wins at everything, and that's how he makes his living.
That's awesome. Other thing I was looking up is you have makeup tutorials. And you've been putting makeup on a lot of our male comedian friends.
Yeah. I did a web series before Rissa Fury called Stand Ups Doing Makeup, where I would bring usually male comedians on, and we'd have 10 minutes to do each other's makeup. And so I'd usually make them look beautiful, put some fake eyelashes on them. Contouring. And then contour, a little highlight. Yeah. And then, they would make me look like a burn victim. It was always a nightmare. But yeah, that was really fun. So that's on YouTube too. I believe there's 22 episodes that people can go watch. So yeah, it was a good time.
What should I do? Like I woke up with a zit right here. And
oh, hey. Yeah. The mask knee this year is real.
And as a guy, what I did is I woke up and I didn't see it and I shaved right over it, which is fun. And so pretend I was going on TV today. Like, what would I have to do? What should I do to...
If you were going to be covering a blemish?
Yeah.
So you would want to use a concealer that's a little bit thicker in consistency, so it's going to stick to it better as opposed to a thinner, more liquidy one. And then you would want to set it with powder. You could also use a color corrector before the concealer to neutralize the color.
So basically, what I understood from that is nothing, and I would need a professional to help.
I would not recommend you try and then go on TV because it would probably be noticeable.
Just be like the wrong color. It's like
totally wrong skin color. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the one where you did Mark Norman's makeup, and it was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, I haven't gone back and watched those for a long time, but yeah, I had Mark Norman, Bert Kreischer,
Yeah, Bert
Jim
Kreischer,
Norton.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Bert Kreischer's daughters did our makeup for that one. Jim Norton, so many great people. So yeah, it's on YouTube. Stand-ups doing makeup.
Yeah. And with all these things you have going on, like comedy and your podcast and different web series, like how do you manage your time during the day? Like, do you have a set schedule? Are you very like, I'm doing this thing today? Are you kind of loose? Like, how do you approach that?
I'm definitely very type A. So I have a planner, which I recommend to anybody is to get a physical planner. For a long time, I was just trying to use the calendar on my phone, and it just became a disaster. Like, I think having it all digitally, at least for me, is harder to keep track. And there's something so satisfying about with pen and paper crossing things off as you get them done. So I do it to the nth degree, where I usually in a day will write out like breakfast, workout, shower. Like, I'll include the little things because A, it makes me feel good to cross it off, but B, sometimes a mistake I was running into was I thought I could get way more done in a day than I actually could because I wasn't including these other things that I had to do.
Right.
So it kind of gives me a more realistic idea of, all right, this is when I'm going to do this. And now I've gone even more like type A nerd shit with the social media stuff, where I have a little calendar of, okay, these are the things I want to, like, these are the sketches I want to make this month. These are the days I think I'm going to try and post them. And that way it's not just like tumbling around in my dome.
Yeah, because it gets overwhelming, just like the pressure of knowing you have to create and post and schedule. And that's a really good tip to bring back the analog calendar.
It's really helpful. It really, at least for me, it's helped a lot. So I recommend it to anybody.
I used to use it in high school. That was the last time I used it, like where you write your homework is on this day and you cross it off.
Yeah.
And
what do you do now?
I use the phone, and I probably should get off that because there's too much in the phone. Like,
yeah,
it's like, and then you open up the phone and then you're doing something else, by accident. Like, it's designed to distract you. I started reading this book called Breaking Up with Your Phone, which is like trying to like use your phone for less things and like telling you, it's like the book version of that like Netflix show where they tell you about like how bad social media is.
Yeah, The Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma. Yeah, there's a lot of the same people in there and stuff, but it's really crazy like how it's just designed to suck your attention. And the more you can kind of like work outside of your phone, I just feel like I'm more productive, to the point where like I bring like a pad like this on stage now and not my phone. And like I try to just kind of segregate it away to like this very specific thing that takes photos.
Yeah, totally. I mean, any amount of time that you can take away from the phone, even if it's as small as you working on your planner on paper as opposed to being in the calendar app, I think is a win. Because otherwise, I mean, it's hard to pull myself off of social media. I don't know if you feel completely addicted, but I feel completely addicted.
Yeah, because it's part of our careers and you feel like you're missing out. And it's also how you get booked on things. So people reach out to you through it. So like, at first, when I saw that messenger in Instagram, I was like, why would they put this? And then you're like, oh, it's so genius because it's created like another point where you have to check it. Like,
yes. Yeah.
And we all have friends who are like, I know you know my number. Like, why are we doing this right now? Why are we in messages?
Yeah, exactly. And also the more you try and grow your following, the more you start to get into paid ad opportunities and stuff. So then you think, well, I have a financial responsibility that I should be on this app trying to grow my following because I can, it can help me financially, and it just sinks its teeth into every part of your life.
Yeah. And it's like during quarantine, there's an extra layer to it where you can say like, oh, well, I'm in quarantine. I should be doing even more of this,
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I've for sure leaned into that this year.
You leaned into the reels, which are doing really well and they're really funny.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It was a little, at first I was like, I don't want to do this other thing. I feel like a lot of people, when reels came out as comics, were like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all just crossed our fingers and hoped that it was just going to die so that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're like, don't feed the monster. Like, maybe it just will die off and then we won't have this other thing we have to do. But then I remember seeing some people's videos early on who got onto it early on and they were doing so well. And then you're like, fuck, okay. So then you start doing it. And it does, I mean, it's that slot machine mentality that's so similar with TikTok where you get that reward and you want to just keep trying to get candy. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we both know Maddie Chimber, and he was on it early and was really doing like fun videos that really, blew up his following. And then I had Zach Noe Towers on the previous episode, and he's like, I'm drawing the line. I am not going to Reels. Like, that's it.
I just saw him post a Reels.
Oh, he did?
I just saw him post one yesterday. It was so funny.
Wow. He said that on the podcast recorded on Sunday. He's like, I'm drawing the line in Reels. All right. See, this is how deep it is. Even when you try to stop
a public declaration,
you can't. It always gets me that like the format, like this one's 16:9, this one's 12:7.5. Like, can you make one? Like, I can't even export the video to all things.
Yes. Oh my God. Do you use the InShot app ever to edit video? That's what I use to put I just type captions onto my videos.
Really? InShot? I use Premiere like on the computer, and it's painful.
I would check out InShot. It's about as easy as it gets beyond the fact that you're typing little letters and making your eyeballs bleed. But on TikTok, they wanted that specific 9:16 format, and I accidentally exported a video at, I don't know, something smaller and posted it. And then afterward was like, fuck, I did all this work. And it's just like, this is how we're spending our time now, is stressing over the file size of it. It's like, what has happened? It's just crazy.
We're all like mini web developers now. Like, we're all like, everyone is like, I'm not going into computer science. They're like, too bad, you are.
Yes. It's part of the deal now. You're like, I just wanted to tell these jokes, but no.
Even like a dentist has like a social media presence and has to take photos of teeth and like.
Oh my God. Nothing better than seeing that. You're like, oh, Ron, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And I turned down a dentist because of his social media profile. Like, he's like skateboarding and he's like doing all this stuff. I'm like, this is too much. I cannot go to this dentist. Like,
yeah. Well, it's that fine line where it's like, if I see you doing too much shit, if I see you doing a TikTok dance when you could be putting braces on somebody, I'm like, I don't know if I trust the level of, expertise here. And like, are you not getting a lot of business that you have the time to learn the WAP dance? Because that's concerning to me.
Totally. Like, I want my medical professionals to have like mismatched clothing, like nothing, like you don't want to be, you're too stylish, like something is wrong.
Right. Yeah.
It's like when the construction worker pulls up in like the nice car, you're like, no, I want a pickup truck. I want dirty hands. Like, show me you're working.
Yeah.
Don't show me how rich you are.
Yeah.
We all know you're rich. You're in construction. How's the comedy shows been going up until now?
They've been good. I think I kind of embraced the virtual shows early on. There were a lot of comics that were like, not doing it. This is stupid. This is going to be a nightmare. And I wanted to feel like I was performing so badly and hear laughter, even if it was just virtually. And I think I think there are upsides to it. Certainly doing college shows virtually.
Oh,
Chef's kiss. Would love to never fucking fly to the middle of Vermont ever again for any reason. You know, I hope that they stay virtual. That would be amazing. So,
because
I
I've
don't know.
heard the money stays the same and you stay home.
It does not stay the same. At least in my experience, there have been cuts, but if it stays the same for some people, that's incredible. But so far, it's been typically them asking for less time and paying less money. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a trade-off.
That's proportional, and you don't have to fly,
Sure.
and you're...
Oh, yeah. I have had some hell college gigs. And yeah, so the virtual college ones have been good. And then I had a weekend at Helium in Portland in September, and then I was supposed to do Helium in Philly in December, and that got canceled and moved. So pretty much all of my dates from this year got moved to next year. But yeah, just doing what we can.
And I saw you around town doing a bunch of the outdoor shows, like Paula Leah's pickup truck show.
Yeah, low key.
Low key, it's so fun.
It's so fun. The low key outside shows, the Ocean Mic show.
Ocean Mic, yeah,
God.
that was fun too.
It's so interesting that people were able to pull off some really fantastic outdoor shows this year, despite it being like, you know what I mean? Such weird circumstances.
Yeah.
And never did I think I would be performing like barefoot in the sand with a microphone, and it's like pitch black. I mean, it's, I told I was like, this is the first time I've ever shaved my feet for a show. You
Perfect.
know, like this is,
yeah.
We're doing all kinds of new shit in 2020.
Yeah. It's insane, but also like magical, you know, like something about the beach show really worked, and Mary really put together a great thing there.
Yeah, she's so great. That was really fun.
She helps me out at the Comedy Bunker, which you were scheduled to do the next one, but we had to shut it all down.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. How were things going with that? I've heard such fantastic things about your show. Everybody says it's really good.
Yeah, it was really hot inside, and then I kind of like caved in, so to speak, for the outdoor show. I was like, all right, let's do a couple. And then that's all we got to do was a couple before it all, it just got a little too, you know, we wanted to be respectful of like the guidelines and so forth. So
yeah.
but it's been fun. Like one of the outdoor shows, actually all of them were really, really good. And like they really were on the same level as the indoor shows. And we tried to separate people with the chairs all separate. And we built an outdoor stage. So I think it'll still be outside when we come back, maybe February, March, whenever it's like safe to do so. So you'll be first up and you'll see it.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it'll be super fun. What are some of the investments like you made in your career to like take us to the next level? Like, for example, like, you know, like a podcast is an investment. Like, what are some of the ones that you chose that really like helped you go to the next level?
Yeah, podcasting for sure. I did well, it wasn't a solo podcast, but I would have a comedian as a guest. It's like this, you know. I had one like this called Cooked for 5 years before I did Self-Helpless, which is my current podcast with Taylor Tomlinson and Delaney Fisher. And we're coming up on 3.5 years we've been doing Self-Helpless, but podcasts are a huge investment in your career. It's so fun to have people come out to your live shows from the podcast, because as you know, you kind of record podcasts in a vacuum. Like it's just you and your guests or you and your co-hosts. And yet they're getting listened to by all these people that you don't know who they are. Like you don't know who their face or name, anything. And that's a really rewarding feeling. I feel like that can help a comedy career a lot, obviously. I mean, we know so many people now whose careers have taken off from podcasts. And also merch. Doing merch, I think, helped me a lot.
Wow.
Before I started headlining, I was opening for Jim Norton on the road for like 3 years. And I would ship like giant boxes or lug a suitcase that literally could fit my body in it through the New York subway, like up and down the stairs. It probably looked comical. It's like, who is this small child like dragging her life's possessions in this bag? But I would, I'd sell t-shirts, all these things. And I sometimes would make more money selling merch than like the actual amount I was making for the show. And when you're featuring and you're trying to, I mean, Jim changed my life. He's like my weird, like comedy fairy godmother in a way, where he made it possible for me to do stand up full time. But the thing, I know oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Tom Segura said this at one point, that the structure of pay and comedy has not changed in however many years, where like what features typically get paid, it just is not enough to be doing it full time. And then it hurts comedy in that way, where people are like having to keep a day job to then try and feature. And it's so hard to make that leap. And I got so fortunate with Jim because he, you know, would pay, he was in a place in his career where he can afford to pay for those things. Whereas some, you know, I'm not a headliner that could afford to pay for my feature stuff, but I was so lucky. Right,
because there's hotel and travel and plane ticket. It adds up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate that he not only could pay for those things, but offered to. Headliners certainly don't have to do that, and it's so nice when they do. So that, plus making the actual money for the shows and selling merch, I just worked so hard, especially those 3 years of like, I'm not going back to a day job. Like I refuse. I am going to do everything I can to make as much money as I can to be able to like make that transition. So merch helped a lot. And I think a lot of comedians kind of like shit on merch or go like,
yeah, it's the butt of a lot of jokes, but
right. But I mean, you don't have to be a fucking, you know, like weird door-to-door salesman about it. You can just have a couple shirts that people might like from your jokes and can make a huge difference. So yeah.
Yeah, pro merch for sure. I mean, like merch or day job. I mean, which one do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are there times where it feels like you want to jump off a bridge afterward because you're standing there next to your, you know, shirts that say what, you know, clit or something? I don't know. Yeah. Just whatever your merch. Clit shirt, bestseller. But whatever it is where people are like, you know, or just they won't make eye contact because they don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Of course there's those times.
Or like start a conversation but not buy something like.
Oh God, the worst. Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of like that aspect too of after the show, having people come up and getting to talk to them too for a second. Like just, I don't know.
You make a connection with a real fan.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
And a lot of them like want to support. Like I started a Zoom show. I also caved in and like was like, all right, Zoom. I didn't want to lose the momentum because I felt like I was starting to actually do like a few shows a week and I had some new jokes and it all shut down. So I was like, I'm doing a Zoom show. I don't care. Yeah. And it's free, but if you give people the option to pay, a lot of them will. You're like, oh, they'll tip a couple bucks or $10, and then it kind of, it just is like, it's a way of people want to support if you give them the option, right? So t-shirts is a way to like support.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that totally makes sense. So yeah.
Were you a New Yorker, like living there with Jim Norton, or not with Jim Norton, but like while you were touring with him?
So once I started touring with him, there were quite a few shows on the East Coast. And so for those 3 years, especially, I ended up going to New York like once a month and trying to do as many local shows as I could there. So it's not like I had an address in New York, but one of my best friends lives there. And so I would stay with her for like a week once a month. And Jim helped me, like get that recommendation to audition for The Cellar and The Stand, stuff like that. And so then I ended up, that New York mentality is like, once you get in at those clubs, then it's like, well, you got to keep coming here as often as you can. It's that hamster wheel of don't lose your place in the lineups or whatever. So especially those 3 years, I was there once a month trying to just stay in it.
Yeah, but that's a big career boost to be like passed at The Cellar and have that New York kind of come and go as you please feeling. Like you can go there and call in for spots and do the shows around town. It's really the best system is to be kind of like in LA and New York if you can make it work. Yeah. Because there's a lot of benefits to both.
Yeah, definitely. I was considering moving to New York for a while, and
I do every day.
Do you? Comedy-wise, it is so nice there. It's hard to beat that feeling of doing like 5 spots in a night because you can, maybe it was Ari Shafir who talked about it, that you can start the night with an idea of a joke or even kind of a premise. And by the end, if you've done 5 spots or something, really have the joke in a pretty solid place and just a lot of efficiency there.
Yeah. And it's like, there's an analogness to it where like you leave the place and you're thinking about what you just did and you have time on the subway or the cab to think about it.
Yeah.
Where you don't hear, mostly because there's not another show, but also because you're in your car and you don't want to kill somebody like writing your joke out while you're driving.
Right. Yeah, I do love the subway ride of getting to actually just look at your set before you go on stage as opposed to driving and all that. Yeah. Yeah,
I think about it so much. I literally, before I started the FaceTime, almost pressed send on an email to a friend being like, help me find a place there.
Really? Oh, you're like really, really wanting to.
Yeah, I just like, I also have a friend that I can stay with there. So I have that. But it also feels like I've been looking at places in New York. They're so cheap right now. Like
it's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah. Like it'll never be this cheap again.
It's a once in a lifetime thing for us, I think, to be able to take advantage of those prices. When I was saying that one of my best friends is there, she's trying really hard to get me to move there because it's just like, dude, you're never going to see prices like this.
Yeah. For like, I think it was $2,300 a month. I saw on Central Park West overlooking the park, like a 1-bedroom. I'm like,
what?
Yeah. I'm like, how is this even like possible?
That is unheard of. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So, but then we're here and we have cars. Like, I don't know. I almost went in December before we had the California like quarantine when you get back. I'm like, I can't deal with that.
Yeah, it's the quarantine there is so strict. And also, not to be cliche, but the weather, like when you get comfortable in LA with that weather and then you go to New York in the winter for even just a week.
With no restaurants.
Well, and in New York too, you're outside all the time. You're always walking somewhere. You're not in your car generally unless you have a car, but you're in it.
What are some of the investments you made in your career that like didn't work out as well as you thought? You're like, I'm going to invest in this thing. You're like, this one thing wasn't for me.
That's a good question. Well, I've definitely started a lot of things and seen them through, but they haven't been the thing. So I talked about, doing that Cooked podcast for 5 years. That was 5 years I put into that thing that didn't really do anything for me. I was able to get a couple, a handful of like great guests on, but it didn't really move the needle of my career much, but it did give me good experience, I think. Mm-hmm. Stand-ups doing makeup. It's not like that took off into some viral hit, but I'm still glad I did it. And it's on YouTube for people to watch if they want. But it's hard to call them, I don't know. I wouldn't call them like failures, but there were just certain things I tried in hopes, of course, that you're always hoping like, oh, this is going to be the fucking thing, man.
Yeah,
it's going to go viral.
Here we go. Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, things that those are things I put time and energy into that just kind of were like, they did okay, but they weren't like the thing.
Yeah. But as an outsider, like looking in, like when I Google it, to me, it helps you because you have all these different touch points to like for people to find you. And it creates this like algorithmic dragnet where people can find you through the makeup or to your other podcast or the self-helpless. Like it makes it seem like you've got this big like media empire out there.
It's a big foosball lipstick empire. What a sad carnival life I have. Yeah, I think I had somebody tell me when I moved to LA that I needed to not have so many interests, and that
such an LA thing to say.
Yeah, that my brand was too confusing. They were like, I don't know how to pitch you to people because you're a comedian, but you are a foosball player, but then you like makeup, and it's just like, we don't, and that was hard for me because it almost felt like I needed to not be who I was in order to have success in the business. And I know that's a pretty common thing that people, it's easier if you can kind of fit in a box, right? Like, well, it's the redneck comedian, so that's what you book them for, whatever. Right. And I just, I've always had lots of hobbies, and that's what makes me happy. I like doing a lot of things and not kind of, I don't know, I definitely put all my eggs in the stand-up basket, but you know what I mean? Like having foosball, having the makeup workshop, I like doing that. And so that makes me happy to hear on your end that you think it's cool that if you Google me, there's like cool other things. Because for a while I was kind of down on myself, like, oh, maybe I'm not going to have success because I'm into a bunch of different weird things.
Yeah. Don't you find that some of these meetings, they just need something to say? So like they could easily be like, oh, you just do comedy? Have you thought about foosball? Like,
yes. Like, oh my God. Yeah. It's like grass is always greener type of a thing.
Yeah. They're just like, and like, I feel bad for the people leaving these meetings, taking what a lot of these professionals say sometimes too serious, because like, it was just their like 12:45 meeting, like, and they just said a couple things, and now you're off sweating about it for 3 years, like, and they didn't even know and they're fired. Like, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh my God, yes. It's like you're spending money in therapy trying to get to the root of what they meant by that comment, and then you're so many of those sort of meetings you take. You're like, I wonder what happened to that guy, and they're like, oh yeah, no, he like works at like Cheesecake Factory now. He doesn't work as a junior agent or whatever.
But it's just like, it's the say something syndrome. Like, you can't go to a meeting and no one talk. So they're going to say stuff. They're going to be like, have you thought about a cooking show? Have you thought about that? And you're like, no. And then you think about it. And if you sometimes if you take it too seriously and you alter, like, I like what you said. You're like, I want to be who I am. And for me, it's hobbies. And if you alter who you are sometimes to be what they say, because it's what they felt that day, it doesn't make sense.
Well, and I think this year especially, people who only were focusing on one thing in their life, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think if the one thing that you were focusing on was negatively impacted by COVID this year, that created a lot of panic for people, because they're like, well, shit, I can't do the thing I've always done, so now I have to lean into hobbies and do other stuff. And so this was, I mean, obviously having all my comedy shows and road dates canceled from COVID was a huge negative impact. But I was like, okay, well, the makeup stuff, let's start to put some time into that, because at least I can do virtual makeup workshops with people over Zoom. And, you just try to be as resourceful as you can, I guess.
Yeah. They really sold the dependency on touring to a lot of different like art professionals, like musicians, comics. Like, don't worry about all these other things. You're not going to make money because you'll make it on touring. And then that went away, and you're like, oh, okay, I really need to be self-sustaining and have income from these other things, like a podcast, like things that I control, because if it's 80% of your income's from one thing, it can go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, look at somebody like Joe Rogan, who is a stand-up, a podcaster, and does the, UFC commentary. It's like UFC commentary has fucking very little to do with stand-up, and yet he's really good at all of it. But I like seeing that stuff because it gives permission to other people that it's okay to do things and like things that aren't all like in the same little bundle.
Yeah, like it doesn't need to be always so easily digestible, like this little quick snack. Like it's nice learning something about a person and being like, oh, they're into this and they're into that. Like I think Rogan has more fans because he's into UFC.
Yeah. I was self-conscious for quite a while about doing anything with makeup while being a stand-up, because that especially, I think there's this mentality with being a female comic that you need to be this just tough and like, try to like look like a dumpster fire and just like, just slang these jokes. And makeup is so fluffy, right? It's girly. Just this girly thing. And so for a while I was worried that if I pushed too much with makeup stuff that people weren't going to take me seriously as a comic.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, anytime we all have like the slashes, like comic / actor. And sometimes you throw in something in there. You're like, oh, is this delegitimizing me because I have some other interest or income stream? Like,
right. But comic / Subway sandwich artist.
Right. Well, but no one would say that if it was like, oh, you own an apartment building and you rent it out. You'd be like, oh, look how smart she is, But like, if you're doing another business, which is makeup, like that should be taken the same way. Like, look how smart she is. She's diversifying her income streams.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a judgy business.
It is definitely a judgy business for sure.
What are some of the things like in makeup where you like, with men, you're like, I really wish they just did that. Like, it just bothers me. like moisturizing, like what's your number one pet peeve with that men don't do? That's like such an easy thing.
That's such a good question. Okay, let me think about this for a second. Okay, first, guys who keep their fingernails too long, that drives me crazy. Where like if they're too long and you can see that there's a bunch of dirt under their fingernails, and then it's like also hazardous. So hazardous, like Wolverine situation. I don't like that. So when guys have really, really long fingernails, I think that especially as dudes get older, it is super important to moisturize, just for the sake of, especially everybody living in LA. Like, you don't want your face to look like a ball sack.
Yeah, it's catcher's mitt.
Yeah, we all have to try our best with sunscreen and moisturizer.
Yeah, get one with some SPF in there and every day
Look
put
at
it on.
You're killing. You have fantastic skin.
Oh, thank you. I think because I'm half brown, so it's kind of got some pigment in there.
That helps. You're glowing. You look like you have very few wrinkles. Yeah, you're killing it.
I don't go in the sun. I don't like the sun. That's the one thing about LA is like I like overcast. I'm Vancouver, Northwest. You know what it's like. It's rains 24/7. I could like London. I'm home. I love this. Like, yes. I don't need to see the sun.
Oh my God, I am the exact same. I used to get so excited when it would rain in LA, and my friends who are from that area were like, "What is wrong with you?" And it makes me feel so much more normal.
Yeah.
Especially if you're anxious, you're feeling depressed, and you look out and it's just bright and sunny. You're like, ugh, this isn't matching my insides.
No. It's like you look out your window and you see a bunch of people having fun, and you're like, I hate them.
I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them. I want everybody to be feeling the way I feel. Yeah. What else? I mean, do you own tweezers?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do some nose hair situation?
Not with the tweezers. I got the thing that rotates.
Oh, okay.
And you just ram it up there. I heard that if you use tweezers, like it can get infected, and then it can like really mess things up.
What? Really? I've never heard that. Oh, maybe that's for some like heavy duty hardcore nose hair situation.
So I just use the rotating thing, which is kind of scary to ram it up there, but it works.
I was gonna say that sounds terrifying, like a torture contraption.
It's exactly what you think it is. So
just tiny blades that go up there. Oh my God.
But it's in like a cone and it spins.
Ooh, yeah, my butthole just like slammed shut. That just seems so terrifying. I would not
I mean,
want
that's
that.
the end goal of all podcasts is selling some sort of like body hair shaver. Like a,
Yeah, exactly. You need to get sponsored by these people.
yeah, manscaping.
Yes.
There's your first free ad, Manscaped. Let's sell some $65 body hair shavers.
Let's do it.
Or ball sack shavers. Well, this has been great. I really enjoyed talking with you. We've covered a lot of stuff. We usually wrap up with talking about goals and like what, this is the worst year for it, obviously, but what are some of your 2021 goals that you want to achieve?
Well, I shot my first comedy special during quarantine, actually, and that comes out in 2021. It comes out February 26th on Epix.
Fantastic.
And yeah.
During quarantine?
Yeah, they they contacted some people. They had previously on Epix done a show called Unprotected Sets, and so they were doing season 2 of it with a group of comedians, each doing 30 minutes. And they rented out a restaurant in Burbank called Castaway, and they socially distanced everybody and tested everybody. And so it was outside, and it was done really beautifully. It looks nice. But yeah, that was in quarantine, so that was weird because I went, I think it was like 4 months without performing before shooting the special.
Oh, wow. And then you just went right on stage to do it?
Yeah, I was able to do one of the low-key shows, I think 2 days before I shot the special, and I had done maybe like 2 virtual shows, but that was it.
How did you run it all, like the whole hour or half hour?
Oh, I didn't. It was a really unusual situation, but I mean, my managers were like, "This is when else are you going to get to do something like this? It's kind of like a period piece, you know?"
Yeah, I mean, look at Sam Morril's; it's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I got divorced a week before COVID hit, and so all of my material had to change too. So it was just a whole big, a lot of changes. But anyway, this is to say that I shot a special, and that comes out in February. And so I think part of my goal for next year is that when I'm touring again, to be having basically a new 45 minutes, something that if people are seeing the special is going to be new to them. And I want Risk of Fury to come back. We had to stop shooting those episodes when COVID hit. So I'm really looking forward to being able to shoot more of those again. And I would love for my virtual makeup workshops to just have higher and higher demand.
Sephora, get in here.
I know. Oh my God, that'd be a dream. I've done 3 so far, and I only have 3 guests or 3, I guess, clients at a time. And all 3 have sold out so far, but I only do them once a month. So I would love to maybe have the demand go up and get to do them once a week or something like that.
I love that. Those are great goals.
Yeah.
And where do we find you? Tell us your socials, all that fun stuff.
So on Instagram, I'm at Kelsey Cook Comedy. TikTok, good old TikTok, is also at Kelsey Cook Comedy. And my podcast is called Self-Helpless with Taylor Tomlinson and Delaney Fisher. You can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts. And the web series, Risk of Fury, my Foosball web series is on YouTube, and also stand-ups doing makeup.
Love it. Take her tutorial. I learned how to cover up a blemish. And follow her. She's great. This has been fun. And we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.